First of all, thank you so much, Sheldon Cooper, for asking me to watch Outer Banks not once but twice or thrice, I think. And it really made me curious about this series, and I finally watched it. I know it took a long, long time for me to watch it, but there is a reason, there is an explanation. I'll share that explanation shortly. But first of all, let me thank you for really recommending me this series, and because I am P4L now. I am Poke for life. I mean, I am an instant fanboy of this show. So yeah, let's come back to the reason. Well, as I commented earlier as well, that I wanted to make this you know kind of a watch along kind of a show. For example, I would record my reaction while watching each episode, and then I'll share that reaction with you, which will make you watch the show with me like digitally. In other words, a watch along. So I was trying to figure out how to do that feasibly for both of us, and I kind of found a way, but I realized it took way too much time for me to watch each episode. Like for example, I remember I watched 8 episodes of the first season normally, then I figured out how to do the watch along, then I recorded the final 2 episodes of the first season, then the whole second season, and then again 5 odd episodes of the third season. But then I figured out that it's taking too much time. Then I thought, okay, let's keep that aside and just binge watch all the 15 remaining episodes. And guess what, I binge watched those in 2 days, in a couple of days, maybe 3 days, but majorly 2 days. Yeah, so that's it. That's the reason. I apologize for that, but thank you so much for recommending once again. Well, I have a few points written down which I want to talk about. It's really a very raw reaction of mine, and it is going to be one of those candid reviews or candid discussion videos in which I have just talk about this show, what I liked, what I disliked, and just talk about it in a very raw and a very candid manner. This video will also have it will have very minimal editing, but not anything major. It will be like you are chatting with your friend about this show. That vibe is what I'm going to strike in this video. With that said, let's start. Well, first of all, let me tell you, my favorite character in the show was JJ. And I don't know, yeah, but even from very early on while I was watching the show, I knew the characteristics that JJ possesses, that is going to lead him to die pretty early in this show. But I wasn't expecting to get attached to this character so much that I really felt extremely, extremely bad. And I was kind of joining or making parallels with the character of Steve Harrington from Stranger Things. Both are smart, both are good looking, both are there for their friends, both have a nice little character arc. Though JJ's character arc was kind of a very stagnant or so. We will talk about that later. Stagnant is not the right word, but we'll talk about that later. But we can clearly draw some parallels with the two characters. Fan favorite character, there for every friend, etc, etc. So I was expecting him to die, but yeah, and they didn't really do a very good job about not giving the death away. In fact, they did so much foreshadowing that anyone could see his death from a mile away. In fact, in episode number, I think it was 6 or 7, in which of the final season, in which he absolutely went berserk and broke the window of the courtroom, then went in to vandalize the whole town, or the whole whatever the cook situation was there. I was really nervous in that episode. I was thinking in each and every step that he was taking, that every time he's doing something, he's just going too far. He's just going too far from a very non-redeemable place. Like, he's just pushing himself. And I can see where that all was coming from. He just figured out that his dad, whom he thought was his dad, is not his real dad. And he has a different dad, but probably that was still okay. But to find out that his birth dad, his biological father, was a cook, that would really mess up him. He is Poke like no Poke. He is 110% purity Poke. And if a guy like that finds out that he is not a Poke, he is in fact a cook, and the people and he in fact hates the cook, that would really break anyone. And I can see where that all rage was coming from. But every misstep was taking him just too far. And then again, in the subsequent episode, he just went hard into drinking. He even fought with John B when John B asked him to be the godfather of his son. Those were all things that were kind of foreshadowing where his fate was going. And not only that, but with all the Kiara angle and all those small little moments where we could see that they are setting him to die. And in fact, we can see first season was all about uh, the gang, but the royal merchant, and because of the royal merchant, it was more about John B. And then second season it was about the cross. That means it was about Pope. The third season was again about John B. But it was about the dads too. But the fourth season was definitely going to be about JJ. We can clearly see right from the first or second episode. In fact, the first episode itself, where I think the second episode where they go on to meet Groff for the first time, and then Groff pulls him aside and pulls JJ aside and says, JJ, I believe in you. That was again one of those little moments where you could see, yeah, this season is entirely going to be focused on JJ. But enough about JJ, but come on, man, I just love that character. He was there for his friends every single time. He was there for his friends every single time, and he just didn't think about anything. He just did things. People say you do things and then you think about things. No, it was not the case with him. He just did things and he never thought about it. A very crazy character. I loved him too much, but anyways, he's gone now. Okay, so let's talk about some other things. I really enjoyed the color grading, which I hated at the first. In the first episode itself, right from the first frame, you can see that it is Outer Banks, it is between in the march. So it was they were definitely going with the yellowish vibe, a very warmer tone. I hated that in the first episode, but I could sense that after watching a couple of episodes, I will get used to it. I did get used to it, but that gives a very distinct feel and distinct style to the whole season, to the whole series, in fact, to the whole show, Outer Banks. Whenever anyone says Outer Banks, the first thing that will come to my mind is the color grading, the extremely warmer tone of the colors. But anyways, I really enjoyed all the treasure hunting stuff, and I remember every finale was just amazing. Even the first finale where Sheriff Peterkin dies, and in the later half of it, and the royal merchant has gone, and then right at the final moment, we could see that John B and Sarah almost died. We know they were not going to die, but just the scale of showing everything, like everything, the hurricane hits again, the season starts with the hurricane hitting, ends with another hurricane or whatever it was. But you can just see that the finale of the first season was itself grand. Then second season, the royal merch, the cross finale was probably the best finale, I would say, just because they are on a ship in the middle of nowhere and they just have a plan to get in. They don't have a plan to how to get the cross out. And we have everyone there. And yeah, and when Water died, he faked his death, but I was sure that he was not going to die. He definitely has an escape plan. I just thought that he would somehow escape from that ship. He did, but I was not imagining him using the scuba diving gears. But anyways, he escaped. He comes back in the finale. Not a shocker to me because I knew he was going to come back. But then we have each and every character on that ship. We have all the kids. We have all the teenagers. We have Rafe and his party looking for the cross. We have Ward also locked up. We have a lot of shenanigans happening. And the cross had a lot of sentimental value to Pope as well. Like his inheritance, he inherited that cross, so to say. It was a big deal, and not just inheriting the cross, but just to clear the name of his family. That was a big deal. That was a very emotional connect that he had with the cross. And that was even bigger than the first season with the Royal Merchant. The second season's finale, I have to say, was one of the best finales out of the 3 finales that we got in this season, in this show. Absolutely good. And then again, they took that further into the third season with Singh and his men. I thought third season was quite interesting, but somewhere down the line, the Singh storyline just, they just over-promised on the villain aspect of Singh. Right in the first episode, we can see that he has this whole fortress around him, and we have 2 very improbable characters together in Key and Rafe. they are not they are, hardcore pogue and hardcore cook. You can't see them together, but they were together. They were forced to work together. Then they escape together. That was the whole thing that was going on. But the bottom line, third season kind of felt short a bit because I think they over promised on seeing his abilities. But yeah, cool. But at the end again, Ward finally coming good. And yeah, there's this thing with Ward and Rafe. We'll talk about Rafe first. Every time I was watching Rafe, I was watching a psychopath. And that was a very good compliment to the actor, first of all. But then, whatever his character was doing, he even tried to kill his own sister. He even tried to drown his own sister. He did a ton of bad things. Yeah, of course, killed Sheriff Peterkin. I mean, he did commit a murder, and that notion of doing everything for your father because he was all devoid of the love of his father, that was driving him, and it drove him to that extent that he even committed a murder, that too of a police officer. That was one of the moments which I was like, damn, this is perhaps the unredeemable character in this show. Or if he want to come on to the good side, he have to do some big character development throughout the couple of seasons just to get in the good side of people. And I think he kind of did. And I remember saying this a lot of time, that he is the character which always says that he wants to change, he wants to get better, but all he did was bad things. Even after saying I want to do better, he did bad things. And that was one of the that pain in my head, which was kind of saying this character may be irredeemable. He maybe can't come back from where he has gone to, but he did come back. He did come back in the final season. He, made amends with his sister. And yeah, he really loved his dad, He really loved his dad. And even though he tried to kill his dad, I know he sent that assassin to kill him, but he quickly figured out, no, at the end of the day, that's his father. Yeah, Rafe did a lot of bad things, but I kind of liked Rafe as well. I know it could be a very problematic thing to say, but please do share your thoughts on that in the comment section. Now let's move on to Ward. Ward was again like his son, or we could say that Rafe was like his father. In the context of, Ward also said always that he is doing everything for his daughter. He wants to keep his family alive. He wants to keep his family close, but all he did were bad things. But there is a difference. Whenever Ward said that he wants to do good things, you can almost sense that he is lying. You can almost sense that he's not being totally honest. But in the case of Rafe, you could see that, okay, he wants to change. He wants to be good, but it's just him. Kind of, he has two personalities. His evil personality comes into the forefront and just hijacks his good personality. That was the case with Rafe, but with Ward, you could almost sense that he was lying. He was just bluffing of being a good guy, but all he wanted to do was have money, have gold, and yeah, yada. That's on the two characters. And whom should we talk about? We should talk about John B's father. The whole scene in the third season, or the whole storyline of John B and Big John in the third season, was just asking for the death of Big John. I mean, yeah, he saved his son. He was crazy after the gold. He just wanted the gold, but he kind of sacrificed himself at the end too. Not sacrificed, he got shot by mistake, but you can say that, yeah, okay, both the fathers did justice to their kids. And let's talk about one of the famous love stories of the season, of the show, JJ and Sarah. The first time that they met on Ward's boat, or Ward's ship, sorry, I was like, no, this is not going to happen. And then they bumped into each other once again, and I was again, nah, this is not going to happen. At that point in time, I was really thinking about Key and John B together, and I think John B also kissed Key just before meeting Sarah or something like that. But I would really hoping that Key and John B would maybe end up, but that was very premature of me to think about that, because what followed was just a very nice, pure relationship of them. And they even tried to kill Sarah. I mean, what was that? I think it was in the second. Yeah, it was in the second season, and her heartbeat actually stopped after getting shot. I was in shock of that. I really thought that, yeah, they are not going to kill her, but when they almost did, I was like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? But then they brought her back to life, and it was all right. They kind of felt cheated, but it was all right. Now, talking about cheating, let's talk about cheating. Let's talk about cheating. I absolutely hated Sarah when she hooked up with Topper in the fourth season again. Or sorry, in the third season again. Oh my goodness, I was so angry at her. I can't even tell you. Because their relationship was the purest relationship in the whole show. Just think about it. And Sarah's cheating on him with Topper, that too. I just lost it. I was hating Sarah for that. Absolutely hating her. But good, they ended up together. And now they're gonna have a baby. And I'm sure that they're going to name their baby JJ. I'm sure of it, 100%. Now, another character that I really liked was Cleo. Cleo, as Hayward said, as Pope's father said, that Cleo is a tough cookie. She is a tough cookie. She really is a tough cookie, and I really liked her. Even from, yeah, right from the third season, I liked her because she, yeah, she didn't have a family growing up. Terence was the one who took in. She practically grew up on a boat. She practically grew up not on the banks, but on the boats and all, on the ships and all. She was really again there for friends. She was a certified thief. Yeah, she was the greatest thief anyone has ever seen. And yeah, I liked her as well. If I talk about the characters I didn't like, it's definitely Topper. But even Topper did a very good thing in the first season, in the finale, where he kind of, he caught Sarah and John B at the church. Then he kind of disguised himself as John B and went in front of the cops. He kind of played like a decoy. Yeah, and I remember saluting him as well while I was watching, because he gave up his love, and that is one of the most difficult things to do. Yeah, so yeah, I saluted him for that. He was good, but kind of lost track at the end. Again, I ended up hating him. Not hating, hate is a strong word, but I was not on board with him completely. But Rafe did everything. Anyways, I talked about JJ. Key. Key's storyline was probably the most conflicted one, because her father was a pogue, her mother was a cook, a certified cook, and his father never supported her of being of being a pogue, and he never wanted her to be friends with other pogues, and she never fitted in with other cooks. She always had an inclination toward the pogue side of things, so she was quite curious. Then if you talk about the most troubled life, it has to be JJ. Again, JJ comes in. Had a father used to hit him. Then not enough money, only had one best friend in John B. He gave everything for his friends, and I think I should make a separate video on the life of JJ. I think I should. Good. Well, yeah, that's it. What about the future now? Alright, so there's still one way in which JJ could come back, and it's going to be quite ironic. I know everyone must have thought about this, that when Key finds the crown, or anyone from our gang finds the crown, hell, even if Rafe finds the crown, he will say that bring back JJ. Okay, I'm not sure about Rafe, but anyone other will say, bring back JJ. Now, there's the thing about belief. JJ was the one who never believed in the curses, almost everyone didn't believe in the curse, and probably not in the wish as well. But what if they get the crown and Key wishes for JJ and JJ actually comes back? I know that's a very far-fetched thing, but it could happen, because JJ was the one who didn't believe in the curse, who didn't believe in the wish, that the crown grants a wish. And it will be quite ironic to see that it actually worked. Like, the wish actually worked. The crown actually granted wishes. That would be an insane end to the series, or the show. I know that will really contradict everything that we have seen, but I wouldn't mind that, because that would come right at the very end of the show, and after that we won't have any seasons because the 5th season is the final season. And I believe in the summer of 2025 they are going to start filming, and the season might come out in early 2026. I'm not sure, not at all sure, but I'll do some research and make another separate video on it about all the updates of Outer Banks season 5. And yeah, that's one way in which JJ could come back. But another thing that I'm sure will happen with JJ is flashbacks. And I won't be surprised if we see the first ever scene of season 5. That scene could be of JJ, and that could be a flashback that we haven't seen, and that flashback might well be with Kiara, that Key and JJ are talking something about very intimately, and then Kiara kind of wakes up and realizes that it was all a dream, and then she gets out of the bed and we realize that okay, she's on a ship, they are going to chase Groff, they have some lead about Groff, and then we kind of trace back to what happened immediately after the end of season 4. I won't be surprised if they go with this thing. If they do this thing, I won't be surprised at all. Anyways, I love the show, absolutely. And I really talked about quite randomly. There was no structure to this video, but this is how the Candid videos are, right? I tried to keep it very raw. At the any editing that you'll see in this video, which that will consist of me fumbling some words. If I haven't fumbled, it is in the video. That's it. So yeah, thank you so much, Sheldon Cooper, for recommending this, and I'll definitely make a few more videos on Outer Banks, especially on JJ, because I really loved him. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching.